Okay, good morning YouTube. Well, I guess good afternoon. It's kind of early afternoon here. Had a kind of a slow start this morning, but here I am. It is Tuesday, and I think today is a perfect day to make sweet onion jam. So, this video is a long time coming. Tonight I am making hamburgers for dinner with pepper jack cheese, and of course, sweet onion jam. My husband absolutely loves sweet onion jam on his hamburgers, so do I. It is good on anything. It is good on meatloaf, your pork tenderloin, your steaks. It's good on anything. So I'm going to show you guys how to make it. I've got this recipe from Linda's Pantry. I will leave a link down below to her channel, so you can go over and check her out and subscribe to her. Kind of share the YouTube love. But when I saw her make this canning recipe, this was one of the first things that I made when I started canning, because the recipe was just, it looked and sounded so amazing. I had to try it. So, water bath canning this recipe, so it's super easy. I buy my onions in bulk from Sam's Club. Buy your onions wherever you want, but you know, buying them in bulk is always cheaper. And I go through a lot of onions here. So we need 20 cups of chopped onions. Now, normally I would go ahead and probably throw this in my food processor, but I'm going to hand chop this today, just for those of you out there who don't have food processors. You can also put this through, you know, one of those chopping wizards or whatever you have. I'm going to start with 8 onions, and we'll see how many cups we get out of 8 onions. We should have enough. But if not, we'll just chop up another one, and we should be good to go. So, I'm going to go ahead, clean these up, start chopping them, and once I get this all done, and I've got a bowl to put them in so that I can measure to make sure I have enough. Remember, 20 cups of chopped onions. And I'll be back in a minute just to show you how you should kind of want your chop, just to make it easier to cook down. Okay, just to show you how I do my onions. Once I take off the ends and the outside peel, I just cut mine in half. Okay. And then I cut them down in slices. And then I chop them this way. You can leave them like long half pieces if you want. You just have to cook your onions a little longer. And this is a long cooking process anyway. We're going to be cooking this roughly about an hour and 45 minutes, up to 2 hours, depending on how long it takes. So it's a long cook time. So you don't want them too fine, because you don't want them to disappear as you're cooking them down, but you want a nice choppy chop on them, okay? So, just a nice chop. You want to be able to have onion in your jam, but you also don't want it, you just don't want them too small to where they kind of just disappear. So, nice random chop. Alright, so I'm going to get these all chopped up and kind of torn apart here, and when these are all done in my bowl, I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, so once you have your 20 cups of chopped onions, we are going to use a half a cup of butter, which is a stick, and we're going to put it in whatever pot you want to use. I think Linda used an electric fry pan. I have used my big cast iron pan. This is cast iron. This I got for my birthday from my dad, which I absolutely love, 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 love this thing. I use on the stovetop and in the oven. So I'm going to use this just because I love cooking my things in cast iron, and it just cooks up so nice. So half a cup, I'm going to take this over to the stove. We're going to warm this up, and then we're going to go ahead and add our onions, and I'll be back in just a bit. Alright guys, so I have my half a cup of butter in there melted. I have my 20 cups of onions. By the way, it took me an extra onion to reach 20 cups. So make sure you measure it out because, you know, every onion is a little different. And then what we're going to do is we are going to add a teaspoon and a half of salt. And because I'm canning this, I am going to use canning salt. I just would prefer it. So there's a teaspoon and a half, and this is just to kind of offset the sugar that we're going to be adding to it. And that's it. Now I'm just going to occasionally give this a stir as these begin to cook down, which is going to take a while. I am going to set my timer actually now, and I'll let you guys know exactly how long it takes for mine to cook down. But as they begin to cook down, I'm just going to go ahead and put a lid on it, and I'm going to come back and check it. I have it like on, I don't know, medium low, maybe a pinch under. So I'm just going to come back like every 5-10 minutes and check on these, and I will be back to you know, give you little peeks as it starts to cook down. But it is definitely going to be a lot less onion than that. So alright guys, I will be back. Okay guys, this is about 20 minutes in, and you can see how it's really cooked down quite a bit. And we're going to still continue to let it cook here so it gets nice and caramelized. But this is what mine looks like after 20 minutes. So, alright. I'll let this keep going here. Okay guys, so it has been 1 hour and 10 minutes, and you can see that my onions have really cooked down and reduced a bit. They are this beautiful caramel color, and we are just about to add in our sugar and our balsamic vinegar and get this process going here. I'm probably going to let this just cook up another 5 minutes or so. Give it about an hour and 15 minutes just to kind of reduce in the juice just a little bit. You know, onions have a lot of water in them. I'm going to let this just thicken up just a little bit more. Another 5 minutes or so should do it. And then I will be back and show you the next steps. Okay. So it's been an hour and 15 minutes, and we are going to go ahead and we are going to add our balsamic vinegar. We're going to add 2 1/4 cups, and you want to get a good balsamic vinegar. I don't know if that's picking up, but I'm using an organic one. You know what they say, junk in, junk out, good in, good out. So use a good quality balsamic vinegar. You're just going to get better results with it. We're going to go ahead and add, there's 1 cup. There is 2. And 1/4. So it's a whole bottle. And this bottle is 16.9 ounces. Right. Give that a good mix. Alright. And then we are going to go ahead and add our brown sugar. And we are going to add 3½ cups. I'm going to add it by the ½ cup. It's just easier for me to scoop out. There's 1 cup. And then from there, we will taste it and see if it needs to be adjusted at all. Okay. Once you get it all nice and incorporated, grab out a spoon, give it a little try. That's really good. For us, we like ours a little sweeter, so I'm going to go ahead and add another ½ cup of brown sugar here. Remember, adjust it, taste it, adjust it. I make my own homemade brown sugar, so. And everybody's tastes are a little different. We like ours a little bit more on the sweet side. Go ahead and grab a clean spoon. Give it another taste. And that is perfect. Oh, that's so good. Alright, so I'm going to let this come back to a boil. Then I'm going to cook it for another 15 minutes. And when I get to that point, I will come back and show you what it looks like. I'm actually going to move this over to my other burner, and I'm going to get out my water bath canner. I'm going to fill it up with some hot water, and I'm going to get that at least going along with my canning jars. Now, you can can these in pints, or you can can it in ½ pints. I like canning it in ½ pints. That way I can give it away as gifts. And it doesn't go to waste in the fridge. You know, we use it pretty fast. So a ½ pint will cover a whole meatloaf or a whole pork loin. It'll also do a whole batch of burgers. If it's just me and my husband, it'll last us, a ½ pint will last us 2 batches of burgers. So I just would rather pull a fresh jar down instead of having one sitting in the fridge. You do not have to can this if you don't want to. You can go ahead and put it in jars in your fridge. It will keep for a couple of months. It's got a lot of sugar in it, a lot of vinegar. It's kind of right up there with your homemade barbecue sauce if you don't can that. So yeah, it's pretty versatile. So you don't have to can this if you don't want to, but you know me, I'm definitely canning it. So, alright guys, let me get everything set up and going, and I will be right back. Alrighty guys, so there is my sweet onion jam all done. Now it will thicken up after you can it. Once it cans and it cools down, or even if you choose not to can it but just put it in your fridge, as this cools down, just like brown sugar or beans, when you cook brown sugar in it, it will get thicker. So no worries on that, but it smells and looks amazing. So now let's get these canned up, shall we? Alright, I'll get you focused here, and let's get to some canning. So I have my water bath canner going. It has not boiled yet, but it's getting warm there. Make sure you guys can see this. Alright, you want to make sure that your utensils for this and your jars are all sterilized, because we're water bath canning, we're not pressure canning. You want to make sure everything is extra clean. extra clean. So I've got little fuzzies on my, I just got this out of the out of the wash. So all right, let's get this canned up. Now this is going to get canned to 1/4 inch of headspace. And when you fill your jars, you just want to make sure that you fill them with even amounts of liquid and onion. Okay, well that sometimes will be the tricky part. And like always, I grab an extra jar out so I can put my ladle in it. Okay. Okay. Then I'm going to be careful because this is very hot. Just dip your napkin, or in my case I use a rag. Wipe the top. Careful, these are extremely hot. That onion jam is like candy. And there you have it. I don't know if you can see that. It is a beautiful, beautiful brown. It is so pretty. So in the canner, that is going to go. I'm not sure how much this is going to make me. So I went ahead and I did sterilize some extra jars just in case. Okay. Grab out a jar. And add your ring. Okay, and into the canner it goes. I'm going to keep going here. I'm not going to bore you guys with this part, but I will be back once I get all this canned up and my canner is full. Alright guys, I was able to get 12 half pints done and put in here, and with nothing left to spare. So I was able to use it all up. Now I'm going to lower this. I'm going to let it process for 10 minutes. Once it's done processing, of course, once it comes to a rapid boil, don't touch it. Process it for 10 minutes. Then when that's done, shut off your timer, turn off your burner, and let it sit in the canner for another 5 minutes before we pull it out. Alright, so I'm going to lower this now. Let me just sit you down here. I lower my jars. You want to make sure there's at least a couple inches of water above your jars, and I know it's really hard to see the depth of this, but they're really in there, probably 3 inches deep, so they are good to go. So I'm going to crank this up, bring this to a boil. Once this boils, I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on, process it for 10 minutes, turn it off, turn the heat off, let it sit for an additional 5 minutes, and then we will pull them out of the canner and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright guys, so it's been 10 minutes for processing and another 5 minutes that it's been sitting in the canner, so I'm going to go ahead and lift the lid up, pull up my rack, and bring these jars out and see what we have. Alright. Make sure you guys can see this. And they are beautiful. So we were able to get a full dozen out of that batch. Hopefully you will get a full dozen out of your batch. Again, you can cut your batch in half if you want. You don't want to make this much. You don't even have to can this. Like I said, you could put it in your fridge. Put it in a mason jar in your fridge, and and use it out of the fridge. It should keep a couple of months because it has so much sugar and vinegar in it. It should be just like the Sweet Baby Ray barbecue sauce. You keep it in your fridge. It should last you, you know, good 2-3 months in your fridge. So they are beautiful. Let's see if I can pull one up and you guys can see that under the lights. You see all the chunks of onion, and it's nice and thick, and this will now set up as it cools. So it's that easy. Didn't cost a lot of money, just cost some onions, some vinegar and sugar, and a little bit of butter, and that's it. Now, I know some people don't like canning with butter. They say you can't can butter. Heck, I know women who actually can butter, okay? So use your discretion. If you don't want to cook your onions down in butter, don't use butter. I will say it's going to be extremely hard to caramelize your onions without butter, but go ahead and sweat them down if that's what you want to do. To me, you cook this for so long, there's really no butter left in it once it's all cooked up and evaporated. And with the amount of sugar and vinegar that you add in this, you really don't have to worry about it. I mean, people add, including me, I include myself in the people, I add 2 tablespoons of butter to my jelly when I make jelly to reduce foaming. So, and I know a lot of canners that do that. So, use your discretion. Can it the way you want. This is the way I canned it. This is the way Linda cans it. This is the way her recipe said to can it. So, you know, do what you will. But I've canned this up now a couple of times, and I absolutely love it, and it keeps wonderful, and they are popping, and I love that sound. And you guys are gonna love this. If you give it a try, let me know. Comment down below on what you think. It's time consuming, but it's really not expensive, and it's really easy. It's basically just the time of cooking down the onions. But heck, onions, you can get onions so cheap, and this makes such a phenomenal Christmas gift. You know, wrap this up, put a bow around it, and give it as a gift. Give it with a bottle of wine or a loaf of bread. Fresh baked bread would be beautiful, or sourdough. It's phenomenal. And like I said, I put it on my hamburgers, my pork tenderloin, my steaks. We actually gave a can of this to a friend of ours, and she actually put it on ravioli. So the sky's the limit. Somebody mentioned on my Facebook page to put it with brie, and so really, I mean, you could serve it with on toasted bread or crackers. It's phenomenal, and it's not something that everybody makes. So giving this as a gift for Christmas, you know, this is something that you can't just go, you know, to your grocery store and buy. So if you give it a try, let me know what you think. I absolutely love it. My husband absolutely loves it, and we go through a lot of it here. We use it as a condiment. So, alright guys, that is it. I'm going to go edit this now and get this up for you. Yeah, perfect for Thanksgiving too. So, alright guys, talk to you later.